Okay, we finished off yesterday on this note, where the Alter Rebbe describes the end game. The end game is that the love in the godly soul overwhelms the animal soul and makes it one of ours. It also wants to, the animal soul realizes that it serves its own purposes to be on the winning team, to do mitzvahs and to learn Torah with all its, and it will give double, triple energy to the godly soul. Instead of the godly soul fighting against it, now they're both working together. It's amazing. And then the end is that all of the activities which are motivated by love, the different aspects of love that we spoke about, the desire to be connected, or just the desire, the overwhelming feeling of love, or fear, desire not to be cut off, not to mess up, or just a feeling of awe and respect and smallness, humility before the greatness of Hashem. These become so dominant that all of the levushim, all the garments of the soul, which are thought, speech, and deed, become focused on godliness. That all our thoughts are thoughts of Torah. Like he just says, it's on top of page 148. All our thoughts are thoughts of Torah. All the words we say are words of Torah and prayer. And with the organs of activity, the 248 organs of the body are involved in doing mitzvahs. This becomes the totality of a person's being. That's it. And what about the animal soul? Well, the animal soul, which comes from Klippa, from the get-go, its desire is exact opposite, but it's going to lose in this struggle, because really the inner motive of the animal soul of creating obstacles and challenges is to bring out the best in you. Nothing like a challenge to make a person realize how much he can really achieve. And he brings this extraordinary mashal of the king who hires a prostitute to seduce his son, and the prostitute doesn't want to do it, but he leaves her no alternative because he is the king and he's issuing the orders. And so she's doing it. She's doing her best to make him problems and to harass him, at the same time wishing that he will reject her overtures. Chana. Okay, new chapter. Chapter 10. The introduction here says, after elaborating on the ongoing battle between the divine soul and the animal soul, it ought to say, after celebrating this whole, most of this chapter 9 is a celebration of the godly soul. So when a person wins this war, we're going to win this Galus war. When a person wins the war against the challenges of the animal soul, and he really is in control, then he's called a tzaddik. The tzaddik is one who's totally in control of his life. And recall, I said to you yesterday about how when I first returned from New York, so this chassid in England said to me, what did you see? I didn't know what to answer him. He said, you saw someone who was in control of himself. This is a tzaddik. A tzaddik controls his life. So what is the challenge? What's life without a challenge? The tzaddik has his own challenges. They're very, very high challenges. They're higher than we could deal with. Only the tzaddik can deal with them. What are the challenges of a tzaddik? I don't know. I'm not on that level. But I read once that the challenge, good morning. The challenge of a tzaddik is, you see, the challenge of an average person is not to transgress. The challenge of the Beinoni is to struggle against the animal soul, even though he doesn't win. The challenge of the tzaddik is to stay alive, because his inner desire is to leave this world and be united with Hashem. And Hashem sends him to take care of the animals. Here's a person who wants to be in the presence of the king in the royal palace, and the king sends him to the stable to take care of the animals. Meaning our animal souls. And he has to be a shepherd. All the great leaders of the Jewish people in history were shepherds. That was their test and trial. And King David was a shepherd. Moshe Rabbeinu was a shepherd. Rabbi Akiva had to work on his father's farm till he ran away to learn Torah and had no money, nothing. He ate grass until his Rebbe smelled the smell of starvation on his breath and took him in. That's Rabbi. That's Rabbi. I'm sorry. That's Rabbi Eliezer ben Horkanus. Rabbi Akiva was a shepherd. He was not just a shepherd, he was a master farmer in charge of the whole ranch, farm. Famous story of Rabbi Akiva that one day he saw an extraordinary rock formation. Water was dripping on a stone and made a hole in the stone. It was dripping through this hole in the stone. And he said to himself, he was 40 years old. He said, if water can drop, water dripping can make a hole in a stone, Torah, which is compared to water, can enter my brain. And he set out to learn with permission from his wife, who saw in him great potential. And she was cast out by her family for marrying such a lowly person. And he went away to yeshiva for 12 years. He came back after 12 years. And when he returned home, he heard a neighbor was berating his wife. I think her name was Rachel. She was yelling at her, what kind of person did you marry? He went away, left you alone to take care of the children for 12 years. She said, yes, and I'm very happy about it. And if I had a choice, I would send him back for another 12 years. He didn't come in to say hello. He turned around and went back to the yeshiva. So the question is, why didn't he come and at least say, hello, honey, I'm home? And the answer is because 24 years learning without interruption is not the same as 12 and 12. And when he came back, he had 24,000 students learning from him. And the whole Torah that we observe today comes through his teachings. When the Romans killed all the sages, he and a few of his students escaped, and they ensured that the oral Torah would be transmitted to the next generation. Without him, it wouldn't be Judaism. It wouldn't be Judaism today. Sharonel, well, good. Okay, what's your name, please? Karen? Karen, what? Karen. Karen Elazam, that's you? Where do you come from, Karen? Oh, from Paris. Which district? I can't hear you. What did you say?
Close to Paris, not La Banlieue, I guess. Yeah. Like the suburbs, not the arrondissement.
Miss Rappaport. Okay. Class is filling up. So we're starting chapter 10. When a person struggles valiantly against his animal soul and predominates over it, the root of the word magbir is gevura. He's very strong. His strength overpowers the animal soul. The strength of his godly soul is victorious. Page 151 at the top. Nilcham kol kach ima Bahamas. He wages his war, the war in his heart against the animal soul. Ad shemagaresh umavayer hara shaba michala smoli, to the extent that the evil of the animal soul, what's evil about it? It's not evil, it's selfish, self-centered. It's only interested in its own pleasure. It's not interested in serving God. So that's evil. But he doesn't do evil to people. He doesn't mug people in the streets. He doesn't steal money from the stores or from people's homes. But the evil, that is to say, the Yetzer Hara, or the Nefesh Bahamas, which does not want to serve God, is overwhelmed, and it doesn't have any place, because even the left side of the heart, where it likes to be, has been taken over by the godly soul. And this is in fulfillment of what it says in the Torah. Because you could ask a very good question. How do you know this? I mean, that's interesting to say, but how do you know this? So there's a pasuk. The only way we know anything is because that's what it says in the Torah. What does it say in the Torah? Uviarta hara mikirbecha. You shall eradicate the evil from your midst. What is that verse referring to? Idol worship. If people begin worshiping idols in a certain city, they have to be eliminated. We can't tolerate, we don't live in a laissez-faire society. Well, everybody has a right to do whatever they want. No, they don't. We don't have a right to worship idols. And if we see somebody worshiping idols, we have to put a stop to it, lest they convince other people to worship idols. Hashem did not create the world and does not continue creating the world in order that we should turn away from him and say to the tree, "Oh, tree, thank you very much," and bow down to the tree because it gives us fruit. You don't go to a construction site and offer praise to the scaffolding or to the crane that goes way up in the air, enabling the contractor to build the building. We don't praise the crane, and we don't praise the stars. We praise the one who creates the stars. So if we get a cell of idol worship developing in a city, it has to be removed. People are warned, they're instructed, and if they persist under certain circumstances, they'll be arrested and they'll be punished severely. They'll be eliminated. And if the majority of a city is seduced into worshiping an idol, the city will be destroyed. And anything in the city will be forbidden for use. We can't serve God and tolerate idol worship. It's like living in Israel and tolerating terrorism. Can't tolerate terrorism. Can't tolerate people who kill the citizens of the country. Okay, so that's what it says. You shall eradicate the evil from your midst. Refers to idol worship. Hasidus takes us to refer to the animal soul. We have to drive the animal soul out of the left side of our heart. Because the animal soul is not interested in worshiping God. It's not interested in following the law of the land. However, there are levels now. Here's a person who has cleansed the left side of his heart. The question is it like the ivory soap, 99 and 44 100% cleansed? Like they say about the ivory soap, it's 99 and 44 100% pure, and it floats. Taking a bath, it's right there. What happens if it's only 44 parts of 1% left? What happened to the other 56 100ths parts? They are still Yetzer Hara. So is that person called a complete tzaddik? You can only call a person a complete tzaddik if he's 100% in control, and the Yetzer Hara doesn't even have 1/2 of 1% or 1 iota of 1% of a place in this person's life. You see what a lofty thing it is, the complete tzaddik. So therefore, someone who isn't a complete tzaddik, but he's almost a complete tzaddik, 90% a complete tzaddik, or 80%, or 75%, still a very righteous person. But to the extent that there is anything left of the Yetzer Hara, he's a tzaddik who is called an incomplete tzaddik. And the corollary to that is that his love of God will also be incomplete. And that the garments of his soul will be stained. He will have holy garments, but they will be stained. Now, the Beinoni does not have 100% holy garments. The Beinoni has garments of activity that are 100%. And in speech, he's 100%. But in his thought and in the feelings in his heart, he's not 100%. He's at war. The Beinoni is a person at war. And the Beinoni is such a righteous person that we think about ourselves, we say, we wish we could be on that level. The Beinoni himself is a very high achiever. Most of us make mistakes, and every time you make a mistake, you'll get Heinz ketchup all over your chiffon blouse, your nice white blouse. Beschmutzt. You get dirty from your mistakes. Because every time a person makes a mistake, There are mistakes of negligence where we don't do things we should do. And there are even worse things where we do things that we're not supposed to do. And this makes a big spiritual mess. There are higher levels of the average person. So the average person a person who makes a mistake and does something against the Torah, against the will of God, against mitzvahs of the Torah or of the rabbis, at that moment, he's not a righteous person. He's doing something completely bad. It's defined as something bad. So most of the time, a person eats kosher and goes out with some friends, and they offer him something to eat, and he eats, and afterwards he finds out that it wasn't kosher. Well, did he do a mitzvah when he ate something that wasn't kosher? No. Didn't do it on purpose, did it by accident. So there's levels of. On the other hand, he's not without blame. He should have inquired. You don't just take anything that comes along because you're hungry. Unless it's a case of life and death. And even there were people in the concentration camps who abstained from things that were given to them with great self-sacrifice, and they kept kosher. The famous story that I heard from a person who was there. A woman was in a camp with several thousand girls, and they were working in making ammunition for the Germans to fight with. Very, very hard. And they didn't give them enough food. And the food that they gave them was not really cooked. They were very sadistic, very cruel, very, very unbelievably cruel. And on Yom Kippur, one year, they served the girls macaroni with sugar. She told the story. So she's a famous writer. She was, she survived, obviously, and she was awarded the President's Award for Outstanding Service here in America. Things that she did for the underprivileged here in America. Gerda Klein. I don't know if she's still alive. Former president gave her this award. Obama gave her this one. She said, the one thing that we longed for was food that was soft and sweet. We never had anything soft or sweet. And they gave it to us on Yom Kippur. Of the 5,000 girls, she said 5,000 girls were in that camp, and they were not from religious homes. Most of them were assimilated girls. She said, nobody touched that food. That's real self-sacrifice. So at that point, they're all righteous. They're all tzaddikim, or tzidkaniyos. If a person would then go out with friends in a free environment and eat non-kosher food, they wouldn't be considered righteous. They would be considered a transgressor, either partially informed, accidental, or the fact that they didn't know what they were doing, they didn't have a good Jewish upbringing, so they're acting by accident. They didn't realize, they didn't know. There are levels and levels and levels, but they're on the other side of the line. They're not. The Beinoni never slips up. The Beinoni is struggling the whole time, but it never slips up. The tzaddik has won the war. That's what we have to understand. We have a transgressor, a person who sometimes transgresses, could be very seldom, could be once every week, once a month, once a year, once every 10 years. When a person slips up and crosses the line and makes a mistake, he falls into the category called a transgressor because he just transgressed. Can't get around it. The Beinoni never transgresses, never. But he struggles. The tzaddik has won the struggle. He has defeated the Yetzer Hara. And now the question before us is, how great has the victory been? Is the Yetzer Hara completely defeated, 100% defeated? Or has the Yetzer Hara just been subdued? Totally subdued, to the extent that it can never make a comeback, cannot come back. Will no longer exert an influence on this person. It will dampen this person's efforts. It will leave a stain, a spiritual stain, on everything this person thinks or says or even does. You know, we carry a lot of baggage with us from the past, from the things that we did and the things that we indulged in, the things that we saw that we weren't supposed to see, the things that we heard that we weren't supposed to hear, the things that we said we weren't supposed to say, the times that we wasted that we shouldn't have wasted when we had opportunities. Excuse me. We're always trying to improve. We're always trying to be better, but we're not perfect. So this tzaddik here, we're talking about, he is a tzaddik. He has completely subdued the Yetzer Hara. But here's the caveat. Page 151 in the middle. Nevertheless, Ein hara nefach l'toiv mamash. He has subdued the evil. He's exiled it. The evil, the Yetzer Hara is now in chains, in the dungeon, in the spiritual dungeon. It has no followers. It has no effect. But it's still alive. It's alive. And it didn't become a Yetzer Tov. So it has not, that's what it says here, it has not been converted into good. It didn't join the team yet. It's not fighting with the Yetzer Tov anymore. It can no longer fight. It has been totally knocked out. It's been put in isolation, in prison, it's in chains, but it's still there. So therefore, he is called Tzaddik She'ena Gomer. Gomer means complete. He's not a complete tzaddik. We go back to chapter 1, Tanya, where it says in the Talmud, so there's nothing new. The sages all knew about this, and they taught about it. There's two levels, in general, two levels. These two levels subdivide into tens of thousands of levels. The two levels are a tzaddik, a person who's righteous. He has defeated his Yetzer Hara, but not completely. And the person who's defeated the Yetzer Hara completely. Who can we think of who would fall into that category? Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Moshe Rabbeinu, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi. The great leaders of the Jewish people were on this level. Think back. What did we learn in chapter 1? Chapter 1 it says in the Medrash, the Eibishter looked into all the souls that he had created. Which of these souls are going to achieve this level of 100% tzaddik? 100% across the board. There really weren't very many. There were very, very few. Far and few. So therefore, it says in the Medrash, he set them out in every generation. like Yosef, Joseph in Egypt. It's the ultimate tzaddik. He set them out in every generation. Every generation has to have at least one complete tzaddik. There are other tzaddikim, lots of them, thousands of them. You know, like you have all the Rebelach, all these Rebbes. They try and lead good lives, but you know, we don't know what's cooking with them on the inside. We only see their outside. They are probably, maybe, possibly in this category of tzaddikim who are not complete. And they know it. But still, they have an obligation to serve Hashem. They have a love of their fellow Jew. They try to help whoever they can. And they have their own struggles and their own challenges. But they're not complete. The complete tzaddikim are one of a kind in each generation. Is it possible to have a complete, more than one complete tzaddik in the same generation? I guess so. When we had Aaron, we had Moshe living in the same generation. Sometimes you have a Rebbe and his son, and the Rebbe is the consummate leader of the Jewish people, and and his protege might be the next leader of the Jewish people. They're living in the same generation. Okay, there's a question here, Samantha. Forgot. Okay.
Well, what constitutes a generation, first off? Like, is that just within one, like, family line, like of one generation, like the parents' generation?
That's a very good question. I'm not going to answer that because I don't know how that will be set up. Quite often, we say the generation goes according to the leader of the generation.
So like the entire time that leader is alive,
So that
one generation?
The Friediger Rebbe represents the 6th generation since the Alter Rebbe. And the Rebbe is the 7th generation. And we are, the Rebbe said about the Friediger Rebbe that his generation continues, did not end. So from the Rebbe's point of view, we're still part of the 6th generation, but from our point of view, we're in the 7th generation. And people say, well, why don't you make a new Rebbe? Because we still have our Rebbe. We are still part of the 7th generation.
But the Rebbe said differently? You're saying that the Rebbe said that we're not in the 7th generation?
No, he didn't use those words.
No.
He said that the previous Rebbe is still the leader of our generation.
Oh.
That's what Rebbe said. From day one, after Yud Shvat, the Rebbe continued saying that. But that's because he's a chassid. He's a chassid of the previous Rebbe. He's not going to say the previous Rebbe is God. Never. But you see, when one Rebbe sort of passes from our sight, we don't see him anymore, his soul continues in the next Rebbe. If we're talking really about this highest level of what a Rebbe is.
Okay. I had another question about like eradicating evil.
Eradicating evil, yeah, on the left, yes.
We don't, like, do we know how to do that?
What?
Do we know how to do that?
Well, that's what we're learning here, yes.
But do you ever truly like know that you did that? Like, I don't think a person would be able to judge themselves with that.
Well, you know, when you're fighting a war, a battle with an enemy, when you engage in battle, there's a confrontation. There's a winner and there's a loser. But then, even if you emerge from that conflict victorious, maybe there are more troops coming at you from somewhere else. So the war isn't over yet. When we're talking about the tzaddik here, we're talking about a person who won the war. He has won every battle. He has emerged victorious. And the negativity in him has been totally eliminated, subdued, captured. The life has been taken out of it. But maybe he's somewhere in prison. And we're not going to let him out. But sometimes he does get out. You have Yochanan Kohen Gadol. He was a high priest. He served for 80 years. Every Yom Kippur, he went into the Holy of Holies. Nobody went into the Holy of Holies and came out alive. If he wasn't perfectly righteous, something happened. Something snapped. And the evil reappeared in his life. And he became an apostate. Apostate, someone goes against Torah. Extraordinary. And there's another story, it's really a mind-boggling story about Shlomo HaMelech. And it teaches us not to look into places where we're not supposed to look. It's a medrash. It's like a bedtime story for the children who want to get a little scared. There's a king of the demons. It says the Baal Shem Tov got rid of them. My wife's family from Morocco, they know what these demons are all about. I asked somebody from Morocco, the son of a shliach, who one of the first shluchim to Morocco, about certain things, black magic that we saw happening. And we were involved with somebody. It's a story within a story within a story. But he said everything that's forbidden in the Torah is alive and well by them, by the Arabs. So there are demons. And there's a king of the demons. The Medrash speaks about it. He has a name and so on. And Shlomo HaMelech found out how to capture him and captured him. Captured him. He was in chains, special chains with spiritual names on them. And Shlomo HaMelech wanted to know something that people don't have to know. That he wanted to know. And he knew that this king of the demons knew, and he wanted that knowledge. His whole thing was knowledge, was wisdom. And he tricked him. And he said, I will teach you the answer to your question. I will give you this knowledge if you release this chain. And he wanted to know so badly, he released the chain, and boom! He ended up in some unknown place, like in a desert, all alone by himself. Shlomo HaMelech. And for several years, there was no king in Israel. And the king of the demons sat on the throne of Israel, of Shlomo HaMelech. Whole medrash, whole story about it. And how Shlomo had to, like this is maybe a parable about a tzaddik Gomor who somehow gives into the Yetzer Hara, lets the Yetzer Hara have an opening, and the Yetzer Hara takes over, and he has to fight his way back all over again. Okay, but we're talking here now about a person who has won the war. The evil has been sent to Sing Sing prison. It's an island off the coast of California. sharks in the ocean. There's no way to get out. And if you get out, there's no way to get back. It's out of the picture. Yitzhar is out of the picture. But not entirely gone. Entirely gone means the Yetzer Hara becomes a Yetzer Tov. That's what we learned at the end of chapter 9. We just finished learning this. So you have to take it very seriously, very carefully. We have to learn it carefully and really understand what we're learning. That we learned that the love in the heart of this person is so great, it flows over into the left side of the heart, completely overwhelms the left side of the heart, and the love of God prevails and overwhelms the love of physical pleasures offered by this world, and transforms that love of physical material delights into love of God. At that point, that's the person tzaddik. That's a tzaddik. That is the description of the tzaddik that we got up to. And he holds the Beinoni. The Beinoni experiences that in moments of ecstasy and prayer. And then after the prayer is over, the Yetzer Hara comes charging back. It's the Beinoni. The Beinoni tastes this. It says it's a taste of the world to come. The tzaddik experiences the world to come while he's still here. So when you take that moment, yeah, there are moments like that a person can experience. And the struggle is to extend that moment to the next moment, to the next moment, to the next moment. And since that's a struggle, so we have such a case that's brought even here in the Tanya of a great tzaddik, the leader of his generation, but at the end of his life said, I don't know where they're taking me. So you don't know where they're taking you. You are the tzaddik of our time. And you're saying you don't know where they're taking you. Because this moment it was okay, but I don't know what's going to be with the next moment. Have a great Shabbos. You see, we read these terms and it's, it goes very easily over our lips. These are very deep ideas.